Hello everyone. How are you? I hope you all done great. Today's lesson is Science subject for Grade 3. Lesson 13. This tutorial prepared by Dawar hawrami for Dr. Mustafa Zalmi Private Basic School. Vocabulary. Moon phases. Lunar eclipse. Solar eclipse. Vocabulary. Moon phases. Lunar eclipse. Solar eclipse. What results from the movement of the moon and earth? Moonlight. The moon is the biggest object one can see in the night sky. It appears to shine brightly at night. But the moon does not emit light of its own. The moonlight we see from Earth is the light the moon reflects from the sun. The moon. The moon is a hard, rocky ball that orbits Earth. It takes about 29 to 5 days for the moon to orbit Earth. When we look at the moon, we can see plenty of spots. Some spots are holes called craters. A crater is made when a large rock moving through space hits the moon. Which part of the moon is lit by the sun? The part of the moon that faces the sun. Which phases of the moon? The moon in its orbit seems to change shape. Moon phases are the different shapes the moon appears to have in the sky. At the beginning, we don't see the moon and we call the moon in this phase the new moon. After about 2 days, we see a thin lighted part of the moon. We call this phase the crescent moon. About 1 week after the new moon, we see the moon like a half circle. We call this phase the first quarter. About 2 weeks after the new moon, we see the moon like a full circle. We call this phase the full moon. 3 weeks after the new moon, we see the moon like a half circle again. We call this phase the third quarter. 4 weeks, 29.5 days, after the new moon, the moon is back to the phase of the new moon, where nothing of the moon's surface is lighted. What are the phases of the moon? New moon. Waxing crescent. First quarter. Waxing gibbous. Full moon. Waning gibbous. Third quarter. Waning crescent. New moon. New moon. Waxing crescent. First quarter. Waxing gibbous. Full moon. Waning gibbous. Third quarter. Waning crescent. New moon. Eclipses of the moon and the sun. You know now that the moon revolves around Earth. At times, Earth is between the sun and moon. If the sun, Earth, and moon are in a straight line, Earth blocks sunlight from reaching the moon. And the moon gets dark for some time. This is called a lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse takes place when Earth's shadow falls on the moon. A lunar eclipse happens when Earth is between the sun and the moon, and all three are in a straight line. The picture shows a lunar eclipse. At other times, the moon is between Earth and the sun. If the Earth, moon, and sun are in a straight line, the moon blocks sunlight from reaching the Earth. This is called a solar eclipse. What causes lunar and solar eclipses? Lunar eclipse occurs when Earth blocks sunlight from reaching the moon. Solar eclipse occurs when the moon blocks sunlight from reaching a part of the Earth. Summary. The source of moonlight is the sun. There are craters on the moon's surface. It takes the moon about 29.5 days to rotate around Earth. Phases are the different shapes the moon seems to have in the sky. Lunar eclipse happens when Earth blocks sunlight from reaching the moon. Solar eclipse happens when the moon blocks sunlight from reaching a part of the Earth. Solar eclipse happens when the moon moves between Earth and the sun and all three are in a straight line. This photo shows a solar eclipse. Review. 1. How did craters form on the moon? A crater is made when a large rock moving through space hits the moon. 2. Describe a new moon. At the beginning, we don't see the moon and we call the moon in this phase the new moon. 3. Compare and contrast a lunar and a solar eclipse. Lunar eclipse occurs when Earth blocks sunlight from reaching the moon. Solar eclipse occurs when the moon blocks sunlight from reaching a part of the Earth. 4. During which phase of the moon does solar eclipse happen? Explain. An eclipse occurs in the part of the moon that faces the sun. 5. Which of the following is not a phase of the moon? A. New moon. B. Full moon. C. Crescent. D. Eclipse. The correct answer is D. Eclipse. Chapter 3. Review and test preparation. Vocabulary review. Use the terms below to complete the sentences 1 through 9. The page numbers in tell you where to look in the chapter if you need help. Solar system. Planet. Moon. Orbit. Star. Constellation. Moon phases. Lunar eclipse. Solar eclipse. 1. A large body of rock or gas that orbits the sun is a planet. 2. The moon has moon phases that make it seem to change shape. 3. The solar system is made up of the sun and all the objects that orbit the sun. 4. An orbit is the path of an object as it moves around another object in space. 5. The moon is a large ball of rock that moves around Earth. 6. When Earth blocks sunlight from reaching the moon, a lunar eclipse happens. 7. When the moon blocks sunlight from reaching a part of the Earth, a solar eclipse happens. 8. A constellation is a group of stars that have a distinctive shape. 9. A star is a huge ball of glowing gases. Connect concepts. The movements of Earth and the moon cause changes in the shape of the moon. Use the terms in the word bank to fill in the concept map and complete each sentence. Number 1. New moon. Number 2. Crescent. Number 3. First quarter. Number 4. Full moon. Number 5. Third quarter. Check understanding. Write the letter of the best choice. 1. Stars are huge balls of a solid bodies. B. Hot liquids. C. Glowing gases. D. Cold gases. The correct answer is C. Glowing gases. 2. When the moon looks like a lighted circle in the sky, it is in the phase A. Full moon. B. New moon. C. Crescent moon. D. Gibbous moon. The correct answer is A. Full moon. 3. The full rotation of the moon around Earth takes A. 2 days. B. About 29.5 days. C. About 19 days. D. About 3 days. The correct answer is B. About 29.5 days. 4. The moonlight comes from A. Distant stars. B. Sun. C. Earth. D. Air. The correct answer is B. Sun.